Alright guys, so we're back. Same gear as usual. I don't really run cows for magic fighting, I just run them for ruins. Um, I know cows is a little iffy when it comes to magic fighting. You may get something really good, you may something get really bad, you may not get anything at all. But I know cows is mostly for just running ruins. So for this, I guess you could call it a landmine warlock. I know, kind of a cheesy name, but you're gonna see why. This is on players 8 cows. As you can see, everyone's hit with amplify, and just like that, cows are instantly dead, like stepping on a landmine. Basically, using echoing strike with death, it just annihilates players 8 cows, and you get a big enough group or kill them quick enough. You'll get your high runes. I know a lot of people don't bother playing on players 8 cows because it's kind of a nightmare, especially if you don't have the build budget for it. But I would consider my build budget that I have with this Warlock pretty damn cheap. Nothing really too high end. I'm not running an Enigma. Still trying to make that Hodo. I didn't realize by the time that I got all my characters to hell difficulty and already got good maps that I don't have a way of actually getting a 4-socketed flail without possibly having to go on Nightmare, and that's having to sacrifice a good level 3 Thorns of Hatred map and a level LK map too for my Sorceress if I want to run high runes that way if I get burned out on doing the other ways. So kind of screwed myself with that, but I think the way that this Warlock is right now, even with mid-budget gear, I might actually just say F it to LK and just go farm Nightmare to try to get a level 4 flail. It said you can put in stabs too, but the thing is that not all characters can use stabs, and if I'm going to make a Hodo, I'd rather make it in a flail so where I can have multiple characters actually using it and not just 1 or 2 classes. Like the Warlock has the ability to hold 2-handed weapons with his Levitate spell, which is actually extremely broken in my opinion. Like typical Colossal Voyage is 210 strength to use. But I'll check here in a minute. With his maxed out Levitate, it dropped it down to 105, which is insanely good. But the thing is, it only works with the Warlock, so you can't just, oh, you know, I've got this Colossal Voyage that only has 105 strength. You know, I'm gonna stick it on my Act 2 Mercenary, so you know you don't have the requirements. No, it'll just go back to the same requirements. It only works for the Warlock, so just be wary of that if you try to, you know, think you outsmarted the devs in that, because it's just not gonna work. I hate this little roundabout thing here. It's so annoying. The one thing I've noticed too is that the only problem that I have with my budget gear right now is mana, and even running with an insight, I use quite a bit of mana. But having, you know, going for almost maxed out faster cast rate and still able to hold damage, do players 8 cows or players 8 Travancore or players 8's Chaos Sanctuary, and still annihilating bosses. You know, popping a couple mana potions is not a big deal to me. The one thing I can say with Chaos Sanctuary, like I said, the Warlock is not unkillable. He can still die. You may hear from in the background, so I do apologize. It's poison. If you don't have like good resistances, I mean, this can be basic for any character. Poison's still going to be a complete nightmare. That I still have. I'm probably going to switch out my Might Merc for a prayer or a cleansing one. What the hell, whatever one gets rid of poison. Especially if you're going to do runs like Indariel, stuff like that, or Mephisto. where they're going to use a lot of poison. Even Bale, when he's setting these little traps, when he's laughing if you're standing still for too long, or the Throne of Destruction, level wave 2, where they're going to use a lot of poison there, or any others that are really going to use a lot of poison. If you can keep your mercenary alive long enough, so far it's like, because the Warlock doesn't have any like supportive skills like the Paladin does, with defensive auras or offensive auras, it may be a little harder actually to keep your mercenary alive. So just keep an eye on them, because they tend to be a dummy sometimes and wander off or get overwhelmed. Unlike your Bind Demon here, which is basically just like a miniature boss in a sense. The one thing I'm curious about that I haven't looked it up is when you bind a demon, do they get the same health pool as that enemy would have, or is it just like a completely set health pool for your minion? So for instance, say like Hephaestus here having like, say, I don't know what, 10,000 health. Does he get 10,000 health because that's his boss's health bar, or is there like a set standard amount where hey, you just binded this demon, but he only gets a health of like, say, 2,000. Because he does take damage, as you can see in the corner. I've had him like get down to like halfway before I actually healed him up. And Bind Demon is pretty damn tanky. The fact that if I can run full 8 Travs, Chaos Sanctuary on level 8, Throne of Destruction on level 8, and they barely put a dent into your Bind Demon, that's pretty damn broken. Because even with a Summon Necromancer, not using Chorus Explosion, if you're just using straight summons, not having Might or Fanaticism or something like that, but using, the Runeward Beast, still going to take a while even for a Summon Necromancer to actually take out cows, stuff like that. The one thing I can also say is make sure you always have your shield up too. Cow King's got goddamn poison. Yeah, I think he was too close to the fence there. Because once your little shield wears off and you get something like Undead Stygian Dolls or something that's extra fast with Fanaticism, your Warlock is going to get one shot pretty damn quickly. I've had a couple of close runs with I heard a run drop. Nothing good though, apparently. Couple runs with archers that had like Fanaticism or something like that, and it was just like they all shot at once, knocked out my shields, and almost killed me. I'm like, yeah, not having that happening. So, of course, most players are not going to have level 91. Even to this point, I still find the Warlock to be the growing fastest character so far. Like I said, he's broken. They're probably just going to run out the season with the Warlock. How things are going to change with him, no idea. The other thing is that I have yet to check out the new rune words since the release of Diablo 2 Resurrected. I know there's like, I don't know how many they put in there, because I use Ariat Summit for the original rune words, so I don't know if there's an actual, they updated their thing for another Diablo site where it shows all the new ones, or otherwise I'll just have to look it up myself. I'll probably find it on Fandom or something like that. But I know there is a rune word for the Warlock that gives them like $2 skills like you would for the rest of the characters. But I don't know if you need the expansion part for that or not, or if I could just do it in the Reign of the Warlock. I'm still fairly new to this when it comes to Reign of the Warlock. I went in completely blind, didn't study, didn't read anything like that. Just, hey, there's the Warlock, there's the new character, I'm choosing this, I'm playing this character. That was it. That's just basically as far as it goes. So far, I haven't really gotten burnt out on them, which is really nice, because you eventually will get to that point with certain characters, whether you're a new player or you're an old player, where you will get jet lag from playing the same character over and over again, especially if you're, rocking nothing but budget gear all the way up to hell, maybe halfway through hell, and you know you're just struggling, you're grinding, especially if you're playing a single player, because that's all I do is play a single player. I find Battle.net to be too easy. You know, you trade a bunch of stuff, and here you get a, like Enigma for, you know, a couple high runes, and that was it. There's no real grind to it. There's no real challenge to it, in my opinion. I mean, most people prefer that. So yeah. But with the Warlock, don't really get too burnt out on them. I mean, if I'm like kind of in the dumps of, you know, running the pits, running chaos, you know, not really getting anything, you know, like, hey, you know what, I'll switch over, you know, for some runs for my sorcerers on LK. But yeah, so that's cows. Like I said, throw down the sigil, use your echoing strike, it just annihilates them. Probably not as quickly as fast as a jabs on, but I think it's pretty damn close. And especially since, like I said, I'm only rocking maybe mid-budget gear, and I don't have conviction, which is another nice thing with the Warlock. Because if you're going to run cows, conviction is one that you are actually going to need to lower those resistances of enemies, no matter which character class you choose, besides maybe the barbarian. But if you're using elemental ones, fire, lightning, or cold, conviction is going to be a really big helpful. But since it's somewhat bear mound bear is, so it takes 2 bears or 2 burrs, whatever you want to call it. It's a very expensive rune word, but not the most expensive one, but it's up there. So either way, hope this helps you guys out, and especially if you're playing the Warlock. I know, new character, a lot of confusing things, but leave comments below if you have any questions, and I'll try to answer them as best as possible. I'll see you guys.